What are we doing, Gavin?
We're doing a flight review. Super excited. It's dark outside though, so
A lot of waking up to do.
After flying A-stars all summer up in Alaska, I am due for an R22 SFAR 73 flight review. Beautiful fall day here in Oregon, and Gavin is kind enough to go up with me and show me the ropes again. We're going to hit all the SFAR requirements and have a little fun along the way. Come along.
Magnol traffic, helicopter 241 Foxtrot, left in JTH for Alpha Taxi, Magnol.
Alright,
Coming up.
let the review commence.
Commencing review. Does this guy know what he's doing? Or does he push the wrong pedal?
It's a flight review, but gotta be a little fun, right?
Exactly. RPM's good, P's and P's in the green. Magnol traffic, helicopter 1 Foxtrot's on the go, Alpha parallel 04 left close.
Alright, you want to start with steep approach?
Yeah, let's do it. Alright, so we're shooting for steep approach, Alpha 3, simulating somewhat of a confined. Start bleeding that airspeed back here. A little bit of a wind out of the north. We'll get it slow. Try to load up that disc. And watch the descent rate.
The control, the finesse.
We've got 18 inches of power, a little on the steep side. 18 inches of power with the 300 foot per minute descent. Starting to lose a little ETL and need a little more power. 20 inches, we got 4 remaining, a little bit high on that descent rate. 22 inches, so to get a little ground effect help here.
Nice.
Alrighty, quick stopper,
Let's do it.
coming up.
You want to let me surprise you with the call?
Sure. Like when to initiate?
Yeah, when to enter.
Sounds good.
Quick tap. Oh yeah. Are you running takeoff?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's try to do 22 inches.
Yep.
22 will be plenty. We'll do 21. Magnol traffic, I got 1 Foxtrot's on the go, Alpha parallel 04 left closed. Magnol. Okay, 20 and a half. Battery is back. 1. Keep it in ground effect, get some speed. And 45 knots coming up. A little bit of power available.
And now that we're warmed up, we're ready to start getting into some auto rotations. Gotta love it.
Auto in 3, 2, 1. Okay. A little fast. We'll come up a little short. Let's extend. Okay, keeping the speed, keeping the speed. Actually quite a bit short. We'll see if we can milk it. Okay, come back in throttle.
Nice.
Alrighty.
That was pretty sick. You got quite a bit out of that.
The extension.
Yeah.
And it, like that flare at the end too, really kind of just milk the flare by being able to lower the collective in the flare.
Yeah.
Magnol traffic, helicopter 1 Foxtrot's left downwind for Alpha parallel 04, rapid descent. 180. Magnol.
I was surprised too how well the RPMs maintained. Like they kind of came up to a, I don't know what it was, probably like, I don't know, 106 or something. And they just kind of like, they didn't ever bleed off. Like you kind of like cranked in the flare a little harder at the end. And they just kind of like stayed up there.
Yeah, that with a little lower in the collective.
Yeah.
Alright, so the wind's going to push us towards the runway, away from the taxiway. We'll see how this goes. We're a little high in altitude. We'll go auto rotation. 3, 2, 1. Okay, turning. A little high on the flare.
So you got your spot pre-dialed there.
Unfortunately, the GoPro got unplugged from the audio cable for these next couple clips. We have no sound from the intercom, but what we're doing here is the engine RPM control without the use of the governor, flying away from the airport, and then Gaven is going to manipulate the throttle a little bit and give me some low RPM, and I'm demonstrating that I know how to recognize and recover from that. So you'll see here he rolls the engine down just a bit, low rotor horn comes on, I lower collective, add a little bit of throttle, a little bit of aft cyclic to load the disc will help out if you have airspeed. This has to be done with the governor turned off, of course, so we're really careful not to roll the throttle on too much and overspeed the machine. But it is very critical that you are increasing throttle, because in a real life low RPM scenario, you're probably going to be already at full throttle, and then when you lower that collective, the correlator is actually closing the throttle on you and making the problem worse. So really important that we're adding some throttle as we lower the collective here. All right, so one thing that I used to like to show my students when I was teaching low RPM recognition recovery is this throttle level right there. And so if we lift up the collective, we notice that's moving. And if you look up here, we're not twisting the throttle, but it's still moving the linkage. And one thing you can do to show the student about how much we need to roll that throttle, take your collective and your instructor throttle, roll it all the way into the detent and then lift up. And you'll notice in the detent, it's gonna stay throttle closed there, okay? And now, because the throttle has no further that it can move to close, if you lower the collective, that twist grip is actually going to twist as it stays in that closed position. So that's about how much you should be twisting it to maintain the throttle position in the same spot. If you give it a little extra, you're going to increase the throttle a little bit. So if we look back at our linkage here, another thing we can do is we can go collective all the way up, and then we can roll that throttle all the way open. You'll see it kind of pinned back there. And then you can have the student stand outside the helicopter and practicing lowering the collective, but as they lower, have them look at the linkage and try to keep it in the same position as they lower the collective. And that kind of gives an idea of how much you're actually manipulating that throttle to keep from overspeeding the machine. Obviously, decaying your RPM is a lot more dangerous than overspeeding the machine, so in a real life scenario, give it as much throttle as you need to maintain those RPMs. Now we're away from the pattern and we're gonna practice some Vortex ring state recognition recovery. This is definitely something I could have taught a lot better during my career as an instructor. I would typically teach it by just coming into an OG hover and then inducing a descent rate by lowering the collective and trying to get trapped in the vortices, which isn't super realistic. So what we're doing here is we're actually just going to set up kind of like a normal approach. Just keep a nice low power setting, slowly let the airspeed bleed off. And then when we get to that changeover point where you would normally just add a little bit of forward cyclic and raise collective to keep everything maintained, we're just not going to do that. So we're leaving the power low, leaving the collective down, leaving that nose in a little bit of a nose high attitude. Those vortices are going to develop around the helicopter, and then we're going to start sinking out without even trying. So there you see the descent rate starting to build. We get those shutters, and we're going to sidestep out using the Bouchard technique here. Now, this is something that I learned from a DP fairly recently, actually. I used to kind of dance around with the OG hover and trying to make the vortices match. Whereas if you just do this nice little almost baby flare into it, it really doesn't matter where the wind's coming from. You just kind of line those vortices up and you'll sink into them. And then a nice side step out is the most efficient way to get that descent rate under control. If you watch the VSI, we get some decent descent rates going, but we're not losing a ton of altitude by using the side step maneuver. And this setup is a little more realistic. If you're in the real world planning on doing an OG hover, you're probably pretty cognizant of your descent rate. Whereas when you're just doing a normal approach, maybe a downwind approach is where the Vortex range that could sneak up on you and get you. Back at the airport here, we're going to get into some enhanced auto rotations. This first one we're doing is a minimum descent rate auto, which the new writing for the SFAR actually calls out for the R44. So what we're doing in the 22 here is we're down around 50 knots, and you can see we're riding that horn, bringing the RPMs down to about 90%, and that's giving us about 1,000 to 1,200 foot per minute. And then I'm going to actually slow down more here. We're going to turn this into somewhat of a slow speed auto so that we're not overshooting the spot too much. And you'll see as we get further back on that power curve, the descent rate does start to increase. Then we lower the collective to regain some RPM. And as we're seeing our sight picture come in, we're going to dip the nose. We need to get that airspeed energy before flare. You'll see me push it off to the left just so I can get a little bit more airspeed before we come up on that spot. And then we're going to turn back into the spot, get our flare. I was a little bit high on the flare here, and we were fairly slow still, so not a perfect auto, but we did make it to the spot. Here's the outside view of that same auto. Nice and slow, and then we're going to lower the collective, push the nose over, get that airspeed energy back, and doing that little turn gives us just a little bit more room to get the speed we want. Still slightly slow and a little high on the flare, so definitely not a perfect auto, but that's why we train. And for this next one, what we had briefed was an unknown entry point, so I'm flying along holding altitude. Gavin's going to command when we enter the auto and then see if I can hit the spot. There's the entry, and it looks like we're going to overshoot. So we need to shorten the glide distance on this, and we're going to use a slip to do that. Putting in left pedal and pushing a little bit of cyclic towards the spot is going to add a bunch of drag and allow us to maintain airspeed with an increased descent rate, which will shorten our glide distance. And then as we come up on the spot, we just straighten the nose back out and we'll still be at that 65 knots ready to flare. This is a really great way to shorten a glide if you're limited on altitude. If you have a lot of altitude, you can slow down or you can turn away from and then back to the spot, but that takes a lot more time to get it set back up and ready for your flare. Whereas the slip, you can kick the nose out of trim for a little bit, shorten your glide a little, and then if you bring the nose back in, you should be right at your 65 knots, ready to flare. These are a little bit tricky because while you're out of trim, you won't have airspeed indication. You need to rely on feeling and rate of closure to determine how fast you're going. But with a little practice, it's a great tool to have in the bag.
Auto in 3, 2, 1, down, off, up, and speed a little on the fast side. Coming to turn, checking that RPM build, keeping the throttle off. 65, a little low on the airspeed. Done it kind of fall in the second portion. Okay. RPM manageable. Alrighty.
You got the 180 dialed as far as the spot goes.
Duck left first.
Duck left.
Alright, so we're going for max performance takeoff. Okay, so we're saying she's stuck there. Be a little more left. Now you gotta keep me honest with stuck left.
Okay. I've got my legs pinned.
Perfect.
My feet pinned.
So we're probably gonna have quite a bit of horn at the bottom of this because we're gonna be riding slow RPM. Getting it slow, using the backside of the power curve to get us ascending. Ease that throttle down just a bit.
So you can see we're in a pretty aggressive slip here with a simulated stuck left pedal. We've turned the governor off and we've reduced the RPM, and that little bit of RPM reduction is really going to slow down that tail rotor and kill its efficiency. So we still have enough RPM to stay flying. We're keeping it above 90, but we're slowing down the tail rotor enough to where when we start losing ETL and then pull in the collective, the nose lines up just like that.
And we're down.
Nice.
Okay, we'll say a bird flew in tail rotor or something, so feet are coming off.
I've got it.
Editor, go no feet. Alright, so we'll do a nice mellow run on landing, controlling the nose with the throttle. Middle traffic helicopter, 1 Foxtrot's left base to final, 3-5 middle. Okay, we're gonna turn our governor off, go for shallow approach. Nice low power setting, she's in line.
Now, the POH does say that you should do a full down auto rotation in the event of a tail rotor failure, but if you do have an area big and smooth enough to do a nice run on, the fine-tuned throttle control of the Robinson will allow you to control the yaw. So as you set up the shallow approach and you're slowing down and adding collective, you'll just gently roll the throttle down.
Starting to raise the collective and bring the throttle down just slightly.
And that'll help you maintain yaw.
Okay.
And if you need to, you can roll the throttle back up or back down depending on where the nose needs to go, and keep it in line as you slide to a stop.
And back on the ground.
Nice. What do you think that would be like if we pushed full right pedal? It'd be crazy.
Full right, you just have to go way faster. Because your stabilizer would take some load if you're going fast, but yeah, you have to go way faster.
Yeah, I've always wondered like what it would actually be like if you lost your tail rotor. Like, would it be as if you had full right pedal, or would it be as if you had what we had there?
Full right's like a little bit of negative because they're doing full downs.
Right.
I think it would be more like what you have there.
Yeah.
Hover auto in 3, 2, 1.
Nice.
Not the worst, not the best. 3, 2, 1.
Funny.
We'll count down our feet off the pedals. Once it spins, we'll stop throttle to arrest and
Sounds
set
good.
it down. Feet off the pedals in 3, 2, 1.
Got her stopped.
Auto in 3, 2,
Signal traffic, 748286, turning crosswind for downwind runway 22. Signal traffic.
Okay, RPMs are under control.
This is a more advanced auto rotation that combines a couple different techniques together, including slowing down and turning to find the spot.
Okay, spot's over there, so we'll come this way a bit.
Scenarios where you might use this auto would be flying up a valley with rising terrain, maybe you have a tailwind or the only suitable landing spots are behind you. Slowing down allows you to turn in a much tighter radius, and then if you have enough altitude, it gives you a lot of time to pick out a good spot, then build your speed back up and have a nice flare at the bottom.
Making her fight at the end, but...
Nice. That was sick. Right there. That gravel bar.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you. Yeah, I think the winds are light enough we could work in here and then
come
make it
in.
happen. Kidding me? This thing's got A-star power.
All the power. Got trees there on your right.
Oh.
Disc clearance.
Yes, sir. You might be able
Signal
to
traffic,
snake out
Cessna
that way.
48286, turning final runway 22. Signal traffic.
Oh, it's kind of muddy down here, huh?
Hey, buddy, we'll see how soft it is.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Gotta be careful with the snags there on the left.
Yeah.
Signal traffic, Cessna 48286,
Little
going
Dodger.
around on runway 22.
Oh. Nice. Not too bad at all.
Do you need to see anything else? Do you want to see anything else?
No, I think you're pretty
wanna-
darn proficient.
I want to keep flying, but I also can't afford to.